And hey, Jenny, how you going?
I'm good, Kylie. How are you this morning? Good morning, everyone.
I'll leave you to chat with everyone while I just do this little background.
Can do. I hope everyone's well on this sunny Friday afternoon here in Brizzy. I'm so excited. We're talking about goal setting today, Kylie, so I'm so excited. You know, it's one of my favorite topics.
I know. And it's such the perfect time to talk about it, with it being the first week of spring.
It is 100%. And I am like going to completely nerd out today. So everyone is just going to have to deal with that I'm going to completely nerd out on this topic of goal setting today.
I love it. In fact, I'm grabbing my notebook, Jenny, because I know I'm going to be learning a lot from you today. And every goal setting session you and I ever have, I get excited. So there you go. I've got my messy middle coaching book from my group coaching with you.
Love. I would love it. Those who are watching at the moment on the Zoom, if you have a question, I'd love to know in the chat before we go live on the world, is what is the biggest challenge you have about goal setting? I'd love you to share that if you wouldn't mind.
Ooh.
So hosts and panelists, anyone who's on the call, tell me what your biggest challenge about goal setting is.
Jenny, my last goal setting workshop I did with you was on the 2nd of the 2nd, 21. It's in my notebook. There you go. So yeah, it's about time. There we go.
I didn't realize it was that long ago. Wow.
You guys can see it. Here's me getting my notebook out, ready to learn from Jenny. So get your notebooks, get your pens, because she's got some amazing and unique ways.
How do you though? Hello, the lady who's smashing through all her goals this year. So, you know, I don't think it's not just about having the information. It's actually about using it and actually putting it into practice. And that's what you do so brilliantly, is you actually don't just collect all this information and go, well, that was interesting. You actually put it into practice. And that's such an important piece.
I say that because I'm feeling like way behind with all the stuff we want to do and we're just not getting through it. But then you point out actually getting through heaps. So it's
getting through so much. It's insane. You've had such a massive change this year.
Yes, it's true.
Goodness gracious.
So I'm going to click on live on custom live streaming service. So if you want to introduce us all in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here. It's Friday, which means it's Bite-Sized Conversations with me. I'm Jenny Walk from Elephant in the Room Consulting, and my digital BFF, Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media. Hello, Kylie. How are you today?
Great. I'm great. Great to be here with you, Jenny. I love my Friday mornings with you.
I know. I was a bit flat this morning. I'm not going to lie. I had my second COVID shot yesterday, and I was feeling a little bit flat, but we always talk, and it always makes me feel better when we do. It just kind of perks my day up.
Me too. I'm definitely at it feels a bit end of yearish. I'm exhausted, and we're only at the very beginning of spring. So I feel like, yes, renewed energy, renewed oomph as we move through spring. But maybe it's because of lockdown, you know. And while I'm super lucky that lockdown doesn't affect my business, it's definitely maybe some of the energies from some of the people in lockdown can be quite challenging. And,
sure.
You know, it's different levels of hard for everybody. So maybe that's part of it for me.
Well, I feel like September is becoming, I think the way the world is working, if we look at across the globe, not everybody does financial years in the 31st of July, some people, or 31st of June, 30th of June. Some people actually do their end of financial year at this time in August, September. And actually this becomes Q1 of their next year. And I actually started doing that a couple of years ago when I looked at my planning. Instead of using the last quarter of the calendar year to be where we wind down, it's actually where I start saying, well, how am I going to actually boost the following year? So I use it as a reset rather than can I get my results from last year? Well, actually, from a financial year perspective, we're only the second quarter into the year. So now is the perfect time to actually reset and renew, because it's actually at the beginning, not at the end.
I have just written this down as a note. I'm going to turn it into a quote from you as a little graphic. Wind up, not wind down, reset and renew. I love it. Thanks, Jenny. See my first little pearl of wisdom coming out of you. You're only 1 minute into it.
Yes. For those
Right.
who are watching us on Zoom, if you have registered for Zoom, I will actually be sending you in the chat. You'll get a copy of the goal setting workbook that I've done. I've changed it a couple of times, but if you have registered for Zoom and you're on, you've given us your email address, I'll actually send that through to you in the chat. So that's a little bit of a bonus for joining us on Zoom today. So I hope that's helpful at the end, and it'll hopefully take you through some of the things that we talk about today.
Hey, can I just then ask my team, can you just jump into onto Facebook where people might be watching it live and put that Zoom link so that they can come into the Zoom room and get that special treat from Jenny.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited about that. Okay, Jenny, so let's go hard. Let's go into it.
Yeah.
Tell me, first of all, what even is goal setting and why do we need to do it?
A really good question. And to be honest, the concept of goal setting has had so much conversations and so many different ways to do it. And really, a goal setting is really just about setting a destination. It's really about saying, where am I going? And so the wonderful thing about goals is, and most people say, well, I'm reaching for this goal, so my whole life becomes about that goal. In actual fact, the goal is just the destination. It's just the North Star, if you like. So really what it's about doing is setting your daily activities, and your goal gives you the guiding principles around how to do that. So if my goal is to earn $1 million a year for my business, then what it tells me is, what do I need to do every day in order to reach that goal? The goal is actually irrelevant. It's actually about the actions we do every day and the path and the direction that we're taking the business in order to get that $1 million. That's actually what's more critical than the specific goal. So really, goal setting is just providing a direction and a focus of effort for us. And as I've always said, it's actually not the goal setting people that's actually the problem. We're the problem. And I've said that before. The goals and the setting of the goals is never the problem. No one ever chooses a goal that's too big or too small. It's simply that they don't work hard enough, or they work too quickly and reach them sooner, or not at all.
Jenny, yes, thank you. A few more pearls of wisdom in there. I just wrote down, it's the North Star. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. I love it. There's something in the way that you said that. And I'm like, yeah, that's nice to be guided by your goals. But also, what do I need to do every day to actually then reach that goal? Maybe that's part of the problem for a lot of us. Is like, maybe in January is when a lot of us set some goals for the year, January 1st or whatever. I often do it through December, planning for January. But as of today, I'm going to be doing it in September for spring, because I love that idea of ramp it up and get it going rather than wind it down. That's super awesome. But I think not enough of us, so we set that goal, but then it's not about then how do we get to that goal. We just make the goal and don't make the plan.
Yeah. So we make big plans. We make big chunks of plans. So it's kind of like saying, if you're going to make a cake and then you get all the ingredients, but you don't do anything with them. You still end up with the idea of a cake and lots of ingredients, but you don't actually get the thing that you want, which is the beautiful cake that's all mixed together, because you haven't taken the steps. It's just you've collected things. And I think what we do is we tend to collect things around our goals. So if I'm to get this goal, I need to, if I want to hike Everest, I need to buy some equipment, and I need to join a gym, and I need to do all these things. And you do those big chunks. But then you don't follow through on the actual habits and systems that sit behind that in order for you to actually get to Everest. So to me, goal setting is around creating the actionable steps. So it's not the goal, it's the actionable steps between it. So I've got to join the gym. Awesome. Why do I need to join the gym? Well, I need to join the gym because I need to get fit. Well, what does that mean? It's not that I need to get fit. I just need to be able to walk a hell of a long way in extreme temperatures. Okay, so how do I do that to fit what I need? So it actually starts breaking down each of those big chunks into those little steps. And then it creates a very simple thing. So actually what it means to me is I need to get out of bed every morning and go for a walk. So to climb Everest, all I need to do is get out of bed every morning and go for a walk.
So Jenny, I love that analogy, and I want to go more into how do we actually get through that and that goal setting there. But I just want to rewind for a second and say, why do so many of us not actually take action on our goals? Is there some kind of mental thing happening where we feel like we've said what the goal is, and so in our mind, we're halfway there?
Yeah.
And then why are we not taking action?
It's a really great question. And this is the way that I describe it, is that when we think about the things that we have to do, if we've never done it before, our brain says, well, I don't know how to do it. So I don't know how to, go for a hike, and I don't know how to use the equipment. I don't know how to do these things. So it actually, you create a subconscious or unconscious barrier to your goal setting, because you've actually just set yourself up to fail. I need to do these amazing things, but I don't know how to do it. So therefore, if I don't know how to do it, I don't take any action. So I flip that and I say, well, if you know you need to climb Everest, what was the last thing that you need to do to get Everest? Well, you need to turn up, you need to hike. Well, what did I need to do to get that? So we work our way backwards, because we actually change the language from what do I need to do to what did I do? So your brain starts to actually imagine and wonder about the things that it is actually doing, and it learns. Because remember, the brain doesn't know any different between past and present or the future. So if we actually say to ourselves, I feel like this, or I am that, it will actually create that state for us. So if we say, I need to do these things, your brain goes, cool, I've done them. So I've already done them in my brain. Now I just need to actually action them. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's actually turning around and saying, we start to think about what are the steps we take? What are the steps did we take? Not what are the steps that we have to take. So we start bringing it into the present tense, and we start saying, these are the things that we're doing, not that I have to do. So it's that ladder analogy that I talk on quite a lot about.
Yes, and it's all about language. So it's which tense you're using, etc. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And I love that. Thank you. So then let's move. Sorry, go.
It's about happy. Like if you don't think about goals, but people always have to have that goal of, I want to be happy. And I go, cool. If you want to be happy, be happy. Oh no, but I don't know how to be happy. Well, just start by being happy right now. They go, what does that mean? I'm like, well, just literally be happy. What does being happy mean? Well, what does being happy mean to you? Well, I feel relaxed. I can smile a lot. I feel like a lightness around me. And so as they describe that, what happens to their state? They start to feel all those things that they've just described, because you're actually creating that state in the moment. So rather than saying, I want to be happy, I am happy. So it actually creates that state inside you. So the same thing happens with goals. I need to get up every morning. I'm going to get up every morning. I get up every morning. So you change it from future into what you do now.
I love that so much. And it's just so many things have just raced through my head. And one of those comes to around that. I was told many years ago, and I absolutely loved it. Actually, not many years ago, probably only 3. And somebody said to me, it was all around money and mindset and stuff like that. And so now I try never to say I can't afford it, because immediately that puts me in that, I'm never going to be able to afford it. It's never going to happen. Boo-hoo, I'm definitely not what I could be because I cannot afford that. Whatever it is, it might be literally in $1 million super yacht, so it should say billion, whatever, but I can't afford it, puts me in a different state. If I say instead, that's not for me right now, or I'm working towards that goal, or something like that, or I don't know, just change those words around it rather than I can't afford it, which is just all about lack, isn't it? It makes so much sense to me what you're saying.
And also when you're looking at goals, because goals need two things. They need a destination, and then they need a focused action. That's all a goal needs. Where am I going, and what's my focused action to get there? So if we focus on the things that we're doing every day, every hour, every year to reach that goal, we start to focus on the inputs. We focus on doing the things that we need to do. And it actually starts changing that mindset, as you've just said. So if, I know I need to probably drink a little bit less wine and I want to lose weight, but I also know when I go to gym, I can lift really heavy weights, which I love. And so I still yet haven't made a connection with, losing weight, because I can lift heavy stuff and I love that. So I'm like, well, I go to gym, I do it every morning. I love it. But so I haven't got a connection with this goal of wanting to be a particular size or whatever. So I'm never, at the moment, I can tell you, I'm not going to reach any goal because I've actually made no internal commitment or any connection with why I want to do it. I haven't got a focus. There's no value at the moment for me. I go, well, what's the point, right? But as soon as as soon as I make that shift and say, I can actually now see a connection between wanting this particular state with who I am and what I need to do, that will shift literally in an instant. And so we can shift those behaviors and we can shift our feelings by simply making a decision about doing one thing. I'm not having to do all the things. I just need to start with one thing. And so, but the connection is, how important is it to you? So you can have the best goal. So you
how
want to.
important is it to you?
Yeah. So you might want a super yacht, but why do you want a super yacht? And if you can't tell me why you want a super yacht and why you want to imagine yourself, and you can't actually imagine yourself sitting on that deck with your Moe or your Verve or whatever champagne you are, with a waiter and clicking your fingers, and you have caviar or whatever it is you like to do. Because if you're on a super yacht, you've got staff, right? You're not doing anything if you're on a super yacht. So if you can't imagine yourself in great detail there, I start to wonder whether it is actually that important to you. Because if it's important to you, you will have started to create a connection with it. You'll imagine yourself in that space. You'll start to wonder and feel that. And you'll be like, yeah, I totally get it. I can see what it looks like. For me, my goal is for my partner, my family and I to have a beautiful house. We keep looking at this amazing house that Porter Davis has called the Grange. It's just the most gorgeous, amazing house. And we can see ourselves in the house. I can see myself running my business retreats in this property. I can see it and feel it. And we know that that's probably one of the goals that the family is working towards. But that's because I have a connection to it, and I can feel how important it will be for my family, for my business, and just for me. And because I've made a connection with it, I can now know what are the steps that I need to do in order to do that. And so
Jenny, I want to tell you this one, when you talked before about happiness and, just what does happiness mean and da-da-da-da. And I thought I should tell you about this workshop I did years ago that was called a laughter workshop. And I was like, oh, this is, I always like to put myself a bit out of my comfort and try something new. So, sure, why not? One day out of my life, let me try a laughter workshop. And I laugh a lot in my life anyway. So it's like, it might just be a fun thing to do. Anyway, it was brilliant. It was so brilliant. I highly recommend anyone that gets the opportunity to try a laughter workshop, because at the beginning it's super weird, but then all of a sudden your whole day is just uplifted. And now even just thinking about that workshop will make me laugh. Yeah.
Because you start to feel it. You can change your state. And that's what we forget. Like, even at the moment, people are at home, they're in lockdown. I mean, I've got colleagues of mine who've been in lockdown in Melbourne for 271 days. I know people in Sydney have been locked down up, 8 to 10, 12 weeks. And that's really challenging mentally, physically, emotionally, all those things, because we're stuck in a box and our liberty is removed. But we can choose to change the way we can use that time and use that effort by simply changing the way we're viewing the situation. So, yeah, we're stuck in a 4-box room. Well, that's cool. It's going to save me a heap on petrol. I will not have to, and I'm not going to go take out anymore, because you know what? I'm going to cook. I'm going to get my shopping delivered to me. And how healthy am I going to be at the end of this? Because I'm going to eat well and I don't have to do those things. So you can start changing by creating little things rather than focusing on what you don't have. And often with goal setting, people focus on what they don't have. Well, I can't do that because I don't know how to, or I don't have the skills, or I don't have that habit, or I'm not even sure what that means to me, or I don't even know what that looks like. So we take it back and go, let's imagine what that would be for you. Really imagine it, and then work your way back of all the things that you did to do it, all the things that you achieved, all the people you spoke to, all the actions you take. And pretty soon you'll go, well, actually, it starts with my habit today. It starts with the one habit or the one system that I need to create today. And you do this with your clients, and you don't even really call it goal setting. But when we're talking about getting your clients to post 3 times a week as a start, if they post 3 times a week as a very start, with your clients, they will start to get engagement. If that increases to 6, that increases to stories and everything else, all of a sudden they reach their goals sooner, because all they did is post 3 times.
One newsletter. I challenge you to 1 newsletter a month. And some of them are like, don't even do 1 a year. Like, come on, got to reach those people that want to hear from you.
Yeah, that's right, because they don't have a connection with how important that is. But if you said to them, hey, if you do this 1 email a month, so all you need to do is you can write 1 sentence a day for 3 weeks, and there's your newsletter. So you only have to write 1 sentence a day, and in 3 weeks' time, you'll have 21 sentences or 15 sentences, which is probably a very large newsletter. And there's my newsletter. So you can change the way that you define it. But then if you say, hey, this newsletter is going to reach 100 of your clients, and those 100 people are actually on your list because they want to hear from you. And I get excited when I talk to you. Imagine how different you're going to make their day when they get to go to their inbox and see an email from you. How will that make them feel? How will they respond? What do you want them to do? So all of a sudden, it's not just about, oh my God, I have to do this email and I don't want to. It's, if I write 1 email, I'm going to touch the lives of 100, 200, 1,000 people. And of those, 3 of them might respond to me and say, great email, thanks so much. Yeah. That's what I connect with. It's not about the email, it's about the outcome from the email.
Yes. So, Jenny, if we were to start today, first week of spring, and think about how to take our very first step to goal setting, where we actually take action, et cetera, what's our first thing that we do?
So choose your destination. Very simply, what is the destination? What are you trying to achieve? And how does that connect with your business or your life now? So there's no point in choosing a goal that has no connection at all with you right now, unless you're willing to actually do all the work that's going to create that connection. So we start with something, I say start with something small. So what is the first goal that you want to achieve in 3 months? So that might be to get 2 new clients. So we're talking to business, if we're talking coaching or consulting work, if you're talking in e-commerce, that might be to actually get 100 new clients on your e-commerce site. So if we say, I need to get that many clients, or I need to boost my business, then you say, well, what's the last thing that I did to actually get those clients? Well, I sent them a contract, didn't I? I sent them an invoice and a contract and they said yes. Awesome. Then what did you do to do that? So we work backwards. So the first thing is to make the connection to what you want to do and think about what that means to you. What will getting those 2 extra clients or those 100 extra e-commerce clients look like? How will that change your world? How will you feel about that? What will that allow you to do? So create connection with your destination.
So that's an interesting one, because as soon as you posed that question of, what do you want to do? And I immediately thought, I didn't think business actually, I immediately thought personal. I thought, I want to have Christmas with my family. And then I immediately went into this whole thought of lack, because lockdown, I definitely won't be able to go to New Zealand, all these other kind of things. And it's like, actually, hang on a second, I might be able to, but we don't know what's happening in the world right now. So is the first thing really to think about what is a realistic goal at this point, so that we're not like aiming for something and then we're just setting ourselves up for disappointment.
100%. But also I would say, I would actually ask a different question. What does being with your family for Christmas mean? In terms of what does that mean to you? I get to talk to them, I get to see them, we get to laugh and share. Do you have to do that in person to actually get those 3 things?
You did right. And it's my mum's 70th the week before Christmas. So I think I had this whole dream around being there with her and celebrating that. But hello, Zoom, really, we just need a Zoom party.
And the fun, wonderfully, and yes, you don't get to hug each other and you don't get to actually have that tactile connection, but you can send presents and open presents online, and you can toast each other online, and you can have jokes and play charades and all those things that you could do face to face. So if you've got a goal or a dream like that is out of your control, then I would, that's a really great example, particularly at this time that we're in now, is we say, well, how do we change our perspective of that goal into something that I can control? So I can control my time with them, what I do when I'm on Zoom, how often I call them. I can do all those things. So I can have a version of that goal. If the border's open and I get on a plane and I'm there, then all those things we were going to do on Zoom, we now just do in person.
Love
it. So it changes your perspective. So you have to remember that the lens that you see the world influences the actions that you take. So if you're looking at it through a lens of saying, well, I can't control it, well, that's actually that's the voyeur, isn't it? I'm just watching. I'm actually not participating in it. I'm actually just observing, and I have no intention of participating. But when you choose a goal that's in your control, you become the person, you become the director and the actor in it. You actually get to start making the things happen and creating the environment around it, rather than allowing yourself just to be an observer.
That's so good, Jenny. So good. So step 2, what happens next? We've set a goal and we've set a time frame for it.
So we've talked about the connection. So it's a little bit of step 1 and 2 to combine. So when we talk about how important they are, so we know what our focus is, we know what our goal is, we actually need to ask ourselves, what's going to stop us achieving this? So what's going to stop us actually achieving this goal? So what are the derailers? Because we always talk about what do I need to achieve it, but we don't think about the derailers that can come up. So have a real think about saying, well, what might stop me? So, for example, in your goal for going to New Zealand, what might stop me? Well, the borders won't open. Okay, what's the impact of that? How can I control that? How can I manage that? If it's about getting new clients, what might stop me from achieving that? I just don't do the work. I procrastinate. I'm the queen of procrastination. So I just won't do the work and I find it too hard, or I don't have the resources. So when you look at the things that you will stop and derail you, what it actually shows you, it shows you the things that you need to focus on in order to achieve the goal. I don't have the resources. What does that mean? Well, I don't know how to do X or Y. I don't know how to draw a lead magnet. Okay, well, how do I do that? So one of the rungs on the ladder towards your goal becomes, I need to learn how to do a lead magnet to boost my clients. So your derailers become action points or rungs on the ladder. So choose your focus is the second one.
I want to use a little example I've had in the last month, and we could maybe workshop it. Listen to this one. So one of my things is how clients come to me for a discovery call. So my lead magnet or whatever it is has attracted them to think about possibly working with me and think, how can we connect, and how could Kylie help me, for example? So then they book the discovery call, they jump online for half an hour, we chat. I have a little system how that all works, and then we either part ways and I refer them off somewhere else, or we sign up and off we go. Never, ever, ever does somebody not turn up to a discovery call. However, 3 times through the month of August, people didn't turn up. And I'm sitting there going, this is my time, and my time is valuable to me. So how rude not to have even, because I said, my automated system sends reminders, et cetera, et cetera. Then I go in while I'm sitting on Zoom waiting for them to appear, and I look at, who are they, where have they come from, et cetera, et cetera. And 2 times there was no apparent reason why they wouldn't have shown. But the last one that happened this week was somebody from Nigeria. And I'm like, you're right. So possibly that would have been unrealistic that we would have even been having that scenario. So maybe I should have actually sent them an email first and said, hey, just checking, maybe you don't even realize the time difference or whatever. Anyway, then I spent a little while this week going, what's going on? Have something gone wrong for me that these discovery calls are just not doing it, or they're not turning out? What is happening? There's something just not right there in my system. Or is it me? You go through that whole thing as well. And then I looked at my calendar yesterday, and there's 2 discovery calls happening today. I didn't even know I had those available spots, but they've jumped in, and I'm like, yay, that's exciting. Yay. So my goal is to find what's going on with the discovery call thing and be able to book 2 discovery calls a week. That would be my goal. So what's your thoughts on that, Jenny? How do I goal set that one?
You goal set that one. Well, 2 things. The first thing is, what is the goal? Is the goal to book 2 discovery calls or have 2 discovery calls?
To have 2 discovery calls.
Okay, so then you have to recognize that whether people turn up or not, there's probably 60% of that is in your control and 30% is not. So you don't know what's happened in the 30%. The kids could have fallen over at school. They could have had no internet. We, how great Australian NBN is. So, they could have, who knows what's happened to stop that 30% not attending, because you do have such a high success rate. So the first thing I would say is, if your goal is to actually deliver and have 2, but you may have on average 30% drop off, then you book 3. So your goal actually is to book 3 discovery calls. So we redefine our goals based on the information that we have. So we say, what I'm going to do is focus on booking 3 of these, because then if 1 doesn't come, it's okay, I still get my 2. And if all 3 come, well, that's awesome. So you've actually set an intention around, I'm going to have 3. So you create the space in your diary to make sure you have enough space. But also you're mindful about things like, how am I communicating with people about the time zone? So if you've identified that one of them may have just been at the wrong time zone and they didn't realize and you didn't realize, I did that myself. I booked a discovery call because I was interested in this program. And when I looked at the time, it was like 3 a.m. for me. I was like, oh, hell no. And they didn't have anything in my time zone. I was like, well, that's easy. It's an easy fix for me, right? I'm out, because I'm not going to do a 3 o'clock in the morning call. Because it's not well, for whatever reason, right? So we have to say, well, what is the real goal? But the question I would ask is, what's the value of the discovery calls? So why do you want the discovery calls? So if the discovery calls are about growing your business because you want to connect with more people, then you need to make sure the stuff we're doing well before the discovery call is actually supporting the intention of the outcome, which is, I want 2 discovery calls in order to grow my business. And my success rate is I should get at least 1 of those 2 if I have them. I often get both, but I'm probably going to get 1 of 2 at a minimum. both calls likely because that's what happens and that's your success rate. So what am I doing even before I schedule those that's going to encourage people to say yes, both to the call and beforehand? So we actually work all the way back here. We say, well, what was the last thing I needed to do before they booked the call? Well, I needed to have done something that interests them. What am I doing to attract them? Is it a call like a video like this? Is it my a lead magnet that I've delivered? Is it a post? Am I actually targeting the words correctly on the post? Yes, I did. I did that beautifully. Awesome. So the thing before that is, well, I did that 28 times consistently over a month in order to build engagement, build trust for them to do that. So in order to get 2 discovery calls, what you find is the first thing you need to do is do 1 social media post.
And do you know what I've loved from this unpacking it, or whatever you want to call it, is that I realized I actually don't want 2 discovery calls a week because I don't have the capacity for that many new clients at the moment.
Yeah.
So this was a brilliant exercise. I love it. Thank you.
And that's why you often forget. We have these goals because we're goals that someone else tells us we should do. They're goals that they think is right. I think we should be like this, so therefore I'll do that. And that's the kind of the revenue targets for a lot of people, are building an empire. You know, I should have an empire with staff, or I should have this much revenue, or whatever it might be. But we don't actually say, well, why? Why do we want that? What's the value of us having that in our life? What's that going to change for us? So when we've been talking about my programs, you know, I'm doing a lot more consulting work and the coaching programs, and I'm changing those. But I'm asking myself consistently before I launch them, why am I changing these programs? What's the value of me doing this adjustment and running a membership program? What's it going to give me? But more importantly, what's it going to give my clients? Is it actually going to serve them? Because if I'm changing it because I want to do something that's kind of so arm's length and not connected, it's actually never going to work, because I won't put in the work to do it. I won't build it properly. I'll do a bit of a half-assed attempt. And what will happen is it'll kind of work, but it won't really. And then I'll be like, oh, well, it didn't work. It's not my fault. When actually it was entirely my fault. As I said, goal setting isn't the problem. We are. We don't create connection with the actions that we need to do every day in order to reach those goals. And I noticed, I think it was someone earlier mentioned in the chat that their challenge is around actually setting committing to a specific outcome. And that's where the goal, it's looking at, you've chosen a goal, but not looked at that impact or the why or that how important it is to you. So you've created an outcome that has no connection with either who you are, what you want, what your business wants, or what your client wants.
That's a really interesting one. And Charles, who actually put that comment in there, it's a really interesting situation because Charles's goal, well, I'm just speaking for him at the moment, but it's mammoth. It's a ginormous and extremely exciting and world-changing goal. However, possibly the idea of that goal is so enormous, and then trying to break it down into what pieces can I do at what stages to get there. That's a really good one. So yeah, I love that he's popped in there about
the outcome.
Yeah, the outcome.
What I love about Charles's mission is that there's a very strong mission about what he wants to do. So what he's doing right at the moment, he's got this goal, he's got this mission. So the question is, in terms of when you're setting a goal or setting this outcome, again, what's in your control? So goal setting works about what's in your control. So if your goal is to literally, reduce or change the world or change climate change or reduce poverty or whatever it might be, the question you have to say is, what part can I control and that I can impact on that path? And what's the ripple effect will that have? If I do this one thing, how will that impact the next person, and what flow and effect will that have? So we start to look at what's in our control, particularly I'm working with a company whose mission is to do $1 trillion worth of social investment over the next decade. Like, that's a ridiculous goal. In and of itself, it sounds unachievable. But what they're doing is they're saying, we know that if we do 10 small projects a year around these different things, that's going to lead to this project, and then that's going to lead to this project, and the ripple effect will lead to the $1 trillion worth of investment. So it's not focusing on the outcome, it's focusing on the things that you can do each day that impacts the ripple that enables you to reach that outcome.
Beautiful. Impacts the ripple. That's gorgeous. And so much, like Charles and I have been working together for a while, and so much of it is about, getting him visible, working out that strategy, planning on where to, and even just consolidating websites because there's many of them, etc. So there's so many steps we need to do where we have to rewind. So then that can possibly feel frustrating because, you're ready to go out there and make these giant changes in the world, but actually you've got to do those behind the scenes things.
The little steps. It's actually the little steps that derail goals. It's not the big stuff. We can all do the big chunks, but it's the daily habits and what it comes down to. And I've popped in the chat the little goal setting book, and I know your team will send it to the guys who've registered. Is that the key thing is the actions and the habits that you create every day, and that's what's actually going to create your goal. I think it's Robin Sharma who talks about the fact that every day is essentially a mini version of how you live your day is how you live your life. So paraphrase badly, but the idea being that what you do each day impacts the future self. So if I do the right things and I focus and do my habits every day now, and I do that consistently, that will create change. I won't notice it until one day I stop and look back and go, holy crap, I've come a long way. I didn't realize I'd gone so far because I'd been focusing head down, bum up on the little things. You don't see the big stuff happen.
That's so interesting, isn't it? And I have heard that it takes 21 days of doing something repetitively for that change to be made in your brain or whatever.
I actually think it's now 66.
Oh, wow.
Which is even crazier. But yeah, that's why it's so important. It's every single day. And you don't say, and then that's the thing, it's every single day. What are those little actions that you do? And this is how I say to my clients, if you want to make $1 million in your business, it starts today by posting on social media, sending an email, or making a phone call.
Yeah, beautiful.
If you do one of those, 3 of those things every day for your business, and you do that consistently, there is no way that you will not reach your goal because you're doing the little actions to get the big goal.
I love it. It's the little things that count.
It is.
Yes. Jenny, thank you so much. As always, my favorite morning of the week where we get to chat about the big things and the little things that are going to make.
That's helped everybody today.
Yeah, well, it certainly helped me. I've got a whole big page of notes there. And I've mentioned Charles a few times because I thought for those of you interested in what he's all about, it's Charles Crawshaw, and he's all about world peace, and he's done some monumental things in his life already. And my goodness, there's going to be some amazing things to come. But somebody that has just got the good of the world in their heart, it's just a beautiful thing. So Jenny, how can everybody get in touch with you?
So people can get in touch with me on Facebook and Insta at Elephant in the Room AU. It's the easiest place to find me. It's where I like to hang out. Or you can find me at my website, EITRconsulting.com. We've got the details in the chat, but also we'll put them on through our Facebook links as well. Also YouTube, Twitter, all the places, but find me on Facebook is probably the easiest. Give me a call. I like to chat.
And Jenny, you've got a Facebook group people can join.
I do. People Purpose Profit Business Network. So it's a business network designed to actually provide support for business owners. It's not about it's about collaboration, really. It starts with people and purpose. So really it's about how we bring our own intentions and our goals to the table. We talk about the good things, the bad things when stuff's going really well. We share our wins and losses, and it's a really fun group. So we'd love you to come and join that.
Beautiful.
And how do we find you, Kylie?
Hello Media, join the Facebook group. That's the place where I hang out the most. But of course, there's hellomedia.team on Instagram and hellomedia.dreamteam on Facebook. And we are a dream team. We have our 4th member of the team, well, 5th actually, because I'm a member too of the Hello Media team. I'm really excited about welcoming on Monday.
I'm so excited to see how much you've been growing because you've been working on your goals and doing those little things every day. It's so incredible to see your business grow in the last couple of months. It's gone amazingly.
I'm very excited about it as well. So thank you everyone for joining us. And that's lovely. And Tracy, we've had a few beautiful people in the comments there. So if you've been watching somewhere other than in Zoom here, or if you're listening to it later on the podcast or whatever, just send us a private message either to Jenny or to me, and we'll make sure that we get you Jenny's goal setting workbook, because I already downloaded it. I'm very excited about that. So thanks so much, Jenny. I look forward to seeing you next Friday for another topic, which is something awesome. What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about?
Sure. I think it's time for us to talk about the importance of what marketing is. I've been having lots of conversations who get really kind of confused about this whole digital marketing, and I would love to pick your brain next week about the value of marketing to a business and why it's so important to do that consistently.
Yeah, why don't we start with a social media audit then?
Yes, I love it. Let's do social media audits. I love that.
And the following week, we can do all about what marketing is, because we need to take a look at what we're doing right now and then see. So if we dissect it all next week, and then the following week we go, okay, what can we do that's different and new, and mix up our marketing.
I love it. That's perfect. Well, I look forward to social media audit next week.
Yay, I look forward to it too. Thanks, Jenny. Have a wonderful week. Thanks,
See you
everyone.
later, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.